Now, the markets were basically chilling over the weekend, even though crypto does trade 24/7. We hadn't really gotten too much action other than Quant was still pumping, Solana was still pumping. But for the most part, the crypto space was very quiet. We wake up this morning, though, to see some price action coming in for Bitcoin back down to 42,000. And the news that we're getting is that the Mt. Gox Bitcoin is now being sold off by the government. And I forget how much they have to sell off, but it is a significant amount. Ethereum back down to 2,200 and XRP back down to 61.5 cents. For XLM, it's back down to 12.5. Now, Algo did pump all the way up to about 25 cents here over the weekend, cooling back off to 22 cents. And we see that Quant really showing out up to $150 Quant. Pretty spectacular pump over the last month. Same thing for Solana, but Solana is now cooling off back down to 107 after most recently tapping out at 126. Incredible run up. It was basically an 11x, maybe even a little bit more than that. 1,150% the last time I checked. I think it's probably more. So probably about a 12x for Solana from the lows of $9 last year in December of 2022. So an incredible finishing run here for 2023 for Solana. Some of the other coins. We did see last week the DXY was back down. And now we see here today continuing that trend here back down to about 101.5 for the DXY. Okay. Now we have four remaining trading days here. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then that will be it for the stock market. For 2023, we get to see where all of this finishes off. The 2-year back down to 4.3 and the 10-year back down to 3.89. And so this is a big part of why the mortgage rates have dropped back down to about 6.5, 6.75. You can now get a mortgage if you have decent credit under 7%. But we're going to talk about that. Pending home sales have collapsed to the lowest level since the great financial crisis, even with the rates coming back down. $81 for oil. Oil back up here again today. And the thing that I've been watching for is the current events. We have, certain passages, the Strait of Hormuz, we got the Red Sea. Over there in the Persian Gulf, we have some activity. And any disruption could lead to a spike in price. And I don't know if that's what is causing this pump here today for oil, but oil back up to $81 for that Brent crude oil. Silver basically just trading sideways here today at $24. And gold at 2,060, a little bit of a run up for gold, but just back here at this level, 2,050. That all-time high that we got for gold was 2,150. That was at the beginning of this month. So a historical move for gold in 2023. Love to see it. Nvidia did tap out here twice above $500 per share once again. We're going to watch how Nvidia finishes off this year. The rest of the Magnificent Seven here had been doing well, or I meant to say the rest of the S&P 500 finally playing catch up here, back up to 4,771 for the S&P, the Dow Jones, right up at this all-time high level right here. And so we'll see here that the stock market basically finishing off 2023 at new all-time highs. NASDAQ 100, same thing. Okay, so we'll continue to watch that one. Was there any other? Oh, I did want to make a point on Jesus Coin. You guys recall when I covered Jesus Coin, I warned about how this thing was going to pump into the Christmas burn. So yesterday they burned like 80% of the supply. And I don't know how to read the smart contracts on Ethereum, so I can't even confirm if that's actually what they did. They claim that they burned 80% of the supply. Kind of sketchy for me, but nonetheless, the price action played out exactly how we expected. And so I really hope that you guys were able to take profits or you were able to avoid this completely, because it did pump up into the Christmas burn and then it did dump into that move. So we did call that one perfectly. Okay, we'll continue to watch that one. Now, let's get into it. As I reported, Bitcoin price tumbles as Mt. Gox has officially started repayments to customers after nearly a decade. So this whole process has taken nearly a decade. We're finally starting to see some Bitcoin repayments taking place. This cash distribution signals the impending release of over $6 billion in Bitcoin. We'll continue to watch on. Now remember, you have a very, very large market cap for Bitcoin, And so compared to the overall market cap of Bitcoin, this is small, but you have to remember that this market perception is reality. The market's going to move off of the news, off of the headlines. And so it can be a self-fulfilling prophecy, these types of things that we see. Now, this is the main thing that I've been trying to highlight. Although I was trying to play nice into Christmas, I wanted everyone to have the Christmas spirit, enjoy the holidays, however, whatever holidays you're enjoying. I hope that it was good, but the world around us is on fire and the World War III is still going on. And this is why I've been saying the black swan scenarios are still presenting themselves and we have to stay ready for that. Taking a look here at the Middle East. The U.S. conducted retaliatory strikes on Iranian-backed forces in Iraq after their base was attacked with 3 injuries, 1 critical. In the meantime, the Ukrainian army blew up the Russian landing ship, the Novosibirsk. They probably butchered that one. And if the ship had a full crew, dozens could be killed. The 2 biggest militaries in the world are both engaged in wars, yet we are celebrating Christmas like everything is perfectly fine. Quite the explosion there, report coming out of Ukraine. Big attack there. We'll see what Russia does in retaliation. And currently we have the U.S. conducting retaliatory strikes on Iran, with mass power outages hitting Israel. Now, we don't know if this is a cyber attack. We don't know what's causing this. The system performed load shedding, and now new production units are being put into operation in order to overcome the fault. But nonetheless, various Iranian affiliate groups are blaming the outage on a cyber attack. Iran Observer posted a massive cyber attack has been launched on Israel's critical infrastructure. So we'll continue to watch that one. Moving on over to China, Taiwan. Xi Jinping comes out today and says that Taiwan reunification will surely happen. So after having rolled out the red carpet for the president of China in San Francisco and Biden going to meet him, ever since he's left that meeting, he's had a new posture showing more strength and now saying that the Taiwan reunification will surely happen. Another situation to watch. Now, we'll also be watching as these BRICS, potential BRICS nations have the ability to join the BRICS group beginning January 1st. These countries have all been accepted, and that would be Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE could join as full members of BRICS beginning January 1st. This is how the world order changes. Now, after the BRICS meeting and after this was reported, you can recall that I came out and shared that there's already 5 countries. If you add these 5 to the existing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, if you add these 5, 6 to the existing, there's like 11 total. And I reported at the time that we actually have on-demand liquidity settling with XRP live in 5 of these countries. That would be Egypt. We also see Saudi Arabia has connections as well, as the United Arab Emirates also has on-demand liquidity live. Brazil also has it. India also has it. And South Africa also has it. So we already have on-demand liquidity settling with XRP live in these BRICS nations. Obviously, we're still waiting for them to kind of come out and kind of unveil what their plans are for moving away from the US dollar. But we're expecting massive news coming out later this year. I think their next meeting is going to be in October of this coming up year, 2024. And so we didn't quite get the big announcements that we're expecting this year, but you can kind of read between the lines that they're just in the process of getting things in order, right? So another thing to watch here this year is going to be, and I want to make this point because folks are getting confused on the facts here. I'd left a couple of comments on some posts here this morning on Twitter. Someone saying that, back basically in 1939, morons who said morons were saying that, we shouldn't step in and stop Hitler from invading Putin. And the same morons now today are saying that we should, sorry for messing this up. In 1939, the morons were saying that we shouldn't step up and stop Hitler from invading Poland. Now, in 2023, the same morons are saying that we shouldn't stop Putin from invading Ukraine. And I responded and I said, where's the money coming from? Are you signing up for service? Okay. And you also have to consider, these folks are saying that we need to step up and protect our allies. Someone responded to me and said that our country used to be a nation that stood up for our allies. And I said, well, that's funny because we have allies like France that just abandoned us in the Persian Gulf this last week. We have the Operation Prosperity Guardian or whatever it's called that's supposed to be with 10 other nations. But yet we've had multiple allies now drop out and say, yeah, you guys are on your own. That would be the same ally in France that's now doing deals with Saudi Arabia outside the US dollar. We're supposed to step up and defend these folks. You want me to you want me to go to war? You want me to sign up for that service? Send our children to that war? Where's the money coming from too? Has our Congress declared war? That was another question that I asked them. The answer is no. We don't have the money. We haven't declared war. And no, you aren't signing up for service. You're talking on Twitter. And the problem that I have with this is we have the real doofus morons are the ones that want us to continue going broke, sending our men and women off to die in wars overseas for the military industrial complex and the elites, that have all of their incentives for taking over the Middle East and wasting trillions and 1 million Iraqi lives getting lost. That's collateral damage. That's all, part of the mission critical objectives. That's no big deal, right? These same people talking on Twitter don't understand the slightest bit what they're talking about. Sorry to rant on this, but it kind of irks me because we have the same people that are, want us to go defend everybody else. Meanwhile, all of our quote unquote allies are abandoning us on the military battlefield when it comes to using our currency for settlement. And I don't blame anybody for dropping our dollar. I don't blame anybody for wanting to join Brics. I don't blame them. Okay. But I'm also not willing to send any more of our money. I'm not willing to send any more of our good men and women. Thank you very much. And it is such a mischaracterization to say that this is the same thing as, Hitler invading Poland is the same thing as Putin invading Ukraine. But anyways, let's get back to the task at hand, which is uncovering all of the problems that we face abroad and back home, which is exactly the whole point on why I get so fired up on this. You want to know what I'm talking about? Well, take a look at this one. U.S. Customs and Border Protection sources reportedly tell Fox that there have been over 730,000 migrant encounters at the southern border since October 1st, a population size bigger than the city of Denver arriving at the southern border in less than 3 months. December on pace to set the highest month ever recorded. Folks, black swan scenario, issues, problems, and we're broke. We got to address all of it, okay? And I can't even really talk too much in depth about this problem. You guys know why. Politically incorrect. But boy, oh boy, folks, strap in because 2024 is going to be one heck of a ride. Let's continue. Pending home sales dropped to a record low, even worse than during the financial crisis. As I've been saying, the real estate reset is underway. Not all markets are created equal, and you have to understand what segment of real estate you are in. Office space is getting sacrificed. We just reported on a building in San Francisco which sold at about a 50% haircut from the price that it sold for in 2014. So when it comes to office, when it comes to some segments of real estate, we're not just back to pre-pandemic prices. We are selling at a 50% haircut from 2014. There are buildings that are selling for less than the value of the land because you basically have a worthless structure, a worthless office building that was built way long ago. So we have properties that are being sold for less than the cost of the land because you have a problem. Real estate reset is here. Residential real estate probably going to be pretty all right. I mean, there's already a correction underway. Some markets are worse than others. I was just looking at real estate again last night in my area. And you have to understand that these price cuts aren't reported on any data point. So I was looking at some of the homes that I'd saved over the past few months. And I was going back and looking and seeing which ones had sold, how much they'd sold for. And it's incredible because all these houses that I'd saved, and I said, this is too much. Sure enough, they didn't get $750 for it. They got $641,000. That's a price cut of $108,000. I think it was almost 15% price cut. That's not reported in data anywhere. So when I say the real estate reset's underway, I have dozens upon dozens of data points to confirm that. You want to know what else is being reset right now? Well, that'd be our banking system and the financial system as a whole. With the banks trimming down headcounts at the greatest rate since the Great Financial Crisis. How many of these data points go back to the Great Financial Crisis or worse? Over 60,000 job cuts, wondering what they're preparing for. Yep. And then we move on over to this pleasant little data point. The probability of a recession in 2024 has now crossed 60%. This level has only been seen 3 times since 1960. All 3 instances ended recessions. With heightened stock market volatility, today investors are convinced in a soft landing. Jim Cramer says that we've achieved a soft landing and we've avoided recession. If you didn't understand that the financial tsunami was here and that we are dead, that should have been the indicator for you. Was Jim Cramer saying that we've achieved a soft landing and we've avoided a recession? They might as well drop a nuke on us. Yet the yield curve inversion strongly points to an incoming recession. Yes, it's the second longest yield curve inversion that we've ever had. This could catch a lot of investors off guard. Yeah, well, not if you listen to this channel. We've been talking about, we've been breaking this down. Now, you look at all these data points, right? And it's just one after another. The probability of a recession in 2024 is elevated. Yeah. I mean, we had a brief one here, and this is leading me to my final point, that we do have a brief recession coming in, and I believe a V-shaped recovery coming in 2024. Because as I just showed you, we have lots of problems. We are broke already with multiple black swan scenarios glaring us right in the eye, face to face with multiple black swan scenarios. My job is not to pick out, and determine which black swan it's going to be. It's just to understand how that's going to affect markets and how we can make money from them. And I mean, God willing, we can survive whatever the hell they're going to unleash in this country over the next year. Seriously. I mean, it starts with God help us survive what they're sending our way. And then if we're able to, God willing, we'll be able to make a shoot load of money too. Could be the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. Watch out for correction, black swan scenario between now and April. We have another eclipse coming up in April. So I'm going to be watching up until then. But to reiterate and in conclusion, folks, we have a massive 2024 bull run that's going to be coming back after we get through that, after the bomb goes off, after the tsunami hits, after who knows what they got in store for us, but it is unleashing hell on not just the United States of America, but on this planet. Because the elite, the fall of the cabal is underway, and the fall of the American empire is underway. We've seen this through time and time again in history. It is here. But during these moments, historic transfers of wealth take place. The exciting thing about this opportunity, and why I call it the greatest, is because we have a new asset class. It's called digital assets, cryptocurrency, right? And what you're seeing right now is the institutional Wall Street boys and girls are getting all their ducks in a row so that they can control it. Now, the only way to control it is to control the underlying assets, and then you get your buddies at the SEC and the CFTC and everybody else to allow you to offer all the derivatives, to allow you to offer all the securities that represent the underlying assets, the digital assets that we're talking about. And so what we have up here, folks, coming up this week, Eleanor Terrett shares with us, and a huge shout out to Ellie Terrett. Really do appreciate her. Confirming the date for final amendments to all S1s by Friday the 29th, the SEC has told issuers that applications that are fully finished and filed by Friday will be considered in the first wave. Anyone who is not will not be considered. In addition, the filings cannot mention in-kind creation or they will be rejected. Now, I'm going to break this down further in the video, but I just wanted to end this video on this kind of pleasant note that although we got a lot to go through, the storm is here. We are in the middle of it. Hopefully you enjoyed your Christmas. Hopefully you enjoyed your holidays, and you better be getting ready for this new year, because when the crash happens, are you going to be able to buy the dip? For me, I've been stacking the suppressed assets all through the last couple years, but I have cash on the sidelines right now. In particular, I am waiting for whatever it's going to be, whatever market catalyst it's going to be. They're selling off Mt. Gox Bitcoin. ETFs get approved, and it's a buy the rumor, sell the news event, which we've been warning about, right? That price comes back down. Our altcoins come back down. This is going to be a massive opportunity for us to move in on digital assets and any other equities that you may be interested in. I'm looking at private equity. So for me, I'm going to be looking to buy the crypto dip, and then I'm getting my ducks in a row so that we can move in and execute in a massive way on private equity and on real estate. Okay. Now, private equity and real estate are lagging. They're not like crypto. So the good news is that we're going to have some time to move on that. Real estate's still lagging. Folks are starting to finally admit, oh, wow, geez, Pending home sales is down lower than the great financial crisis. Wait, maybe this thing won't go up forever. And it's not that, it brings me joy to see Americans lose $5.9 trillion worth of wealth last year. It's just that this reiterates my point that this is the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. And unless you have a plan, a strategy, and you're executing every single day, taking massive action, you aren't necessarily going to get on the right side of this transfer. That's what I want for you. That's why we got a new initiative here on our community with what we're doing here to bring you guys the best content, the best educational resources on financial markets, on cryptocurrency, and we're talking about private equity and real estate as well, along with running your business, because we're going to have to bring in as much cash as possible to survive the inflation and to stack as much of these assets as possible. This is our time. 2024 is going to be our year. If you appreciate what we're doing over here, make sure that you like this video, share it out far and wide. If you're new here, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates, and go take advantage of the special that we're running right now if you're looking to get into our private investment community. That's Patreon, gets you access to Discord. When you sign up for 1 year, you save 13% on your membership. This deal ends at the end of this year. So you have, less than a week here to take advantage of this special. Save 13% on your annual membership. Get into our private group. We would love to have you over there. With that being said, guys, I will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all. Thank you so much.